Our theme of this week is solve the fear of divorce.
I'm gonna tell you about a woman whose heart is sunshine, whose body burned hot. I'm gonna tell you about a woman who's cold as tundra with some frozen eyes. I can tell by the way she moves that she cares.
Welcome to the C-Note Show, guys, brought to you by Great Men Move Mountains. It's 11:02 here on Wednesday, May 27th, 2020. And you are here because you want to know that you're not alone in your relationship pain, guys. You want to know that, shit, it's not all your fault, even though maybe she says that it is and she's trying to get you to believe that it is. It's not all your fault. You may not have known the mistakes you made in the past, and now you're learning about those things. You're learning the tools here. You're learning how to move forward from where you are. You're learning how to understand the monkey mind shit that goes around in your head at 3 a.m, right? What can I do to fix this? If I just had one more conversation to fix this, which we know is now not true. We know is not true. So you're here on the C-Note Show because you want to get more loving hugs, kisses, affection, and sex. And I'm here with my amazingly talented and beautiful co-host, Miss Cynthia Cruz. Hi, Cynthia.
Hey, good morning. Happy Wednesday. It is a complete honor and a privilege to be sitting here this morning with all of you. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. I appreciate it. And I love all of our regulars here today, and I'll call on some of you guys later on in the show, definitely. And if you want to raise your hand to speak about our theme of this week, solve the fear of divorce. If you want to raise your hand in the participants section, I'd love for you to do that. Otherwise, you're certainly welcome to post a question within chat. And we've already got something about my Justin Bieber haircut, and I'm not going to go there because it's not a haircut. It's a lack of a haircut. I'm still trying to line up getting a haircut, guys. It seems as things reopen, my barber is like a week and a half out. Like, oh my God, I should have thought of this a long time ago. But yeah, so on the Justin Bieber note, which I'm never going to say again, this is about also learning how to be yourself, how to be in your lane. And what does it mean to be in my own lane? And how do I be myself? How do I learn what the hell my values are? In marriage, in my past relationship, I was separated and divorced in 2015. My son was 11 years old at the time. And I had just worked my butt off, 50, 60, 70 hours a week, thinking that that's what I would do, right? I just do what I'm supposed to do, and then my life is going to work out. Well, guess what? That's not exactly how it goes. And that's why we need to learn how to be ourselves, learn what our own values are. And I want to share a clip from Happy Gilmore about being yourself, learning how to be yourself and do life like you want to do life. That's one thing that we believe here.
Time! Relax, just do what we talked about, huh? Don't even look at the green. Make contact with the ball. There's no goalie out there to block it. Remember, it's all in the hips. Hey, it's all in. Come on. Work with me now. It's all in the hips. Yeah, it's all in the hips. It's all in the hips.
Get off of me.
Hey, just easing the tension, baby. Just easing the tension.
Well, ease it on someone else. What the hell?
Come on, good. Now we're just worried about putting, huh?
Oh, yeah, putting.
All right, remember what I said, huh? Just use your shoulders to push the ball, not your arms. Don't break the wrist, and bring that putter back, just like...
You're confusing me. Just let me put the ball in the hole.
All right.
Oh, my.
Man, this feels like us in relationships sometimes, right?
This is pathetic. There you go. Good shot.
It's about time.
Hey, it is about time. I mean, I just couldn't get the ball in the hole. I wanted to, but I just couldn't do it.
One more tee. One more tee.
Man, that was so much easier than putting. I should just try to get the ball in one shot every time.
Good play.
Yeah, we want to get the ball in the hole in one shot every time, right? That's why we're here. We want to learn how to get the damn ball in the hole. And if we can do it right off the tee, great. What we don't want is to be on the green and having 5 putts into the hole, right? We don't want to have to hit the ball 5, 6 times to get the ball in the hole when we're already on the green. So sometimes, and that's going to relate to our question of the day that we're going to open with here, sometimes it feels like we can get it on the green, but we just can't get the fucking ball in the hole, and we don't know why that is. Am I using the wrong club? Am I swinging too hard? Am I not paying attention to the ground? Is it me? Is it just my mental game? What's going on here? And that's what we sort out for you here, guys. So I hope that analogy hit home for you. I love that clip. So here's our question to start off today. I'm feeling really disconnected from my wife. I feel like she's moving further and further away. I just feel the distance growing. 6 weeks ago, she said that she loves me but is not in love with me, but she doesn't want a separation at this time. We just live as roommates and have been for over a year. I want to rediscover the calm masculine man in me that I used to be earlier in our marriage. But there are moments in fear and loneliness that I act in ways I wish I hadn't. I want to validate myself, but I also want to get my wife's affection back. So Cynthia, I'd love for you to unmute yourself. I want to break this up. There is about 4 different pieces within this question. She's moving further and further away, distance growing, okay? She said 6 weeks ago that she loves me but not in love with me. She doesn't want a separation right now, okay? We live as roommates and we have for over a year. I want to rediscover the calm masculine man in me that I used to be earlier in our marriage, okay? But there are moments in fear and loneliness. I want to validate myself. That's 5 pieces. There's basically 5 different energies, 5 different chunks within this question that I immediately see from all my experience one-on-one coaching men. And by the way, guys, if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, let us know. Post in the chat. Post in the comments underneath this YouTube video if this is where you're watching this. Or, of course, post in our private Facebook group, our Great Men Move Mountains private Facebook group, which we'll talk about later in the show of how to join that. Or you're here now. You can get hot seat coaching here now on the C-Note show, right? Either questions or raise your hand of participants. So Cynthia, I want to specifically ask you, I'll go ahead and share this again, right? I want to specifically ask you about this, and then I want to bounce to some of our regulars, and we've got some new guys on here today. I was warned that there's a gentleman on here today that has quite the story, not to build it up at all, but, but I just did, I guess. I just did, not to build it up at all. But yeah, I want to honor our men here in a moment. So Cynthia, I'm going to share this again. We live as roommates for over a year. I want to rediscover. There's moments in fear. I want to validate myself. Okay, so where would we start here? So let's start with he lives in fear of loneliness, in fear and loneliness that act in ways that I wish that I hadn't. Okay, and he's in this, I've been using this analogy of a Shakespearean play. He's in the Shakespearean, what he's starting to think is a tragedy. At the very least, it's a drama, and it's becoming a tragedy. And all of a sudden, he's in this place of fear and loneliness within, let's say, Act 2 of this Shakespearean play. So our theme of this week is solve the fear of divorce. So how would you, when you're coaching this man one-on-one, if you were to be coaching him one-on-one or responding to him in our private Facebook group, where would you start with him when he says he lives in moments of fear and loneliness, and sometimes he acts in ways that he wished that he hadn't? Please.
Sure. Well, I would imagine, like for all of us, we all know as adults, as human beings, that we know we are not alone. We cognitively know that, our life won't end if we lose our relationship. And yet the feeling state of that can start to tell us distruths. It can start, if we feel lonely, in our mind, we start to think that we are all alone, or that we will be alone if we miss this person. And there's a very, very well used term of triggers. And I like to think of it almost as like when we get those feeling states, it's like we're being stung with a whole hive of bees, because it can be so overwhelming. And if you've ever been stung by a bee, it's hard to, think anything different. It's hard to be like, oh, I'm going to think positive and go out my day, because it's such a profound pain. So I would talk to him first about how to calm the bee stings, how to really touch into what is truth and not so much what the emotional states are asking him to believe, and give him a big picture that 50 bee stings are not forever. No matter the outcome with his wife, triggers can be worked through so that they become maybe they don't ever go away, but they're so much more manageable and smaller than that intense overwhelm that makes any of us, as try as we might, act, say, and do things that we wish we could do a different way.
You were talking about how to calm the bee stings, how to touch into his truths, and that 50 bee stings are not forever. No matter the outcome, no matter how terrible 50 bee stings feel right now. And that may be why you're here, guys. And that's why we're here. And that's what I felt in 2015. I felt like I was in free fall from a plane, like I had been shoved off of a cliff. And I'm getting 100 bee stings on the way down. And I'm just waiting for my face to hit the ground and to wake up from this nightmare, is what I felt like. And maybe that's what you're feeling like right now, if you're here watching this. And so thank you, Cynthia. I love that. I want to come back to that metaphor of the bee stings. So I want to honor some of our men here today. We definitely have Andy again. Love you, coming in from Spain. And we've got Patrick in from New Zealand, and guys from all around the world. Ian from Spain as well. We've got John, Joseph, Brett. I won't be able to say everybody right now. I'll try to get you in on the show. I'd say your name on the show. And I'd love you guys to raise your hand or post a question in chat. Got Harry and Brett. Again, love you guys. Kent, of course, is here. Randy's here. Love you guys. So the gentleman I want to introduce and bring on, and I'm honestly not sure what he's going to say, guys. So we'll see where this goes. His name's Andrew. He's recommended by another one of our regulars, Scott. And so, Andrew, I'd love for you to come on, say hi, and how can we help you, man? Why are you here, right? Oh, that didn't work. Can you unmute yourself? There we go. You're all set.
Okay.
But yeah, man, say hi to us. You're in a good spot, man. We've all been in shit spots, right? And so you're among safe guys. So why are you here? What can we help you with?
Well, my brother recommended me coming on here. We've just gotten our relationship back on track. I've had a pretty turbulent last really 10 years. I was incarcerated, and I just did 5 years flat. I got out in April of last year, so about 13 months ago, I was released. I did 5 years straight that time, and it's taken me. I'm 31 years old, and it's really taken me, all this time to finally to get my life, where I want it to be, and things are finally falling in place. I'm in a relationship right now, and the woman I'm in a relationship with, she's a phenomenal woman. The issues that we've had, most of the issues probably pertain to me and my maybe just being really naive, not having enough relationship experience at my age. I came out of a real harsh environment, where emotions are just tucked down and buried and you can't feel. And it's been difficult to work things out where we're both seeing eye to eye. I feel that I have a lot to learn. Being 31, I'm probably relationship wise only 18. And
Oh, that's all right, man. That's all right. You're in the right spot. Yeah. So first of
So,
all, I just want to say, holy shit, thanks for being honest and vulnerable with us, man. I so appreciate that.
yeah.
Absolutely. And I want to let you know that it feels embarrassing, and this is something a lot of us can relate to, feeling like we don't know what the hell is going on in a relationship, right? I mean, I'm 41 now. I was 37. I was 36, 37 when I separated and divorced. And the story I've told on the show real quick is that she fell in love with two other men while we were together. Okay. Once in 2007 and once in the beginning of 2015. And there was a physical affair in the beginning of 2015. And I kind of just didn't even want to know about it. I saw a text on her phone in the middle of the night and like flipped out. And I basically just shoved it all down. I shoved it all the fuck down, and I didn't know what was going on. And I felt like I was 18, not knowing what the hell is going on in a relationship. And I coach lots of men that have never had a relationship into their 20s at all, never had sex or relationship at all into their 20s, right? So I'm not trying to compare stories, certainly. And so, where can we step from here, Andrew? Like, what's your question maybe today, or what's the scenario that you want to share with us?
A lot of it is understanding her and being able to let her be emotional. I think that I take too many things. What's the word I'm looking for? I feel that when she's going through something, I just automatically feel it has to do with me. It's something I'm doing wrong. And, I overanalyze everything, and maybe I don't give her enough space. I didn't feel for so long, and I didn't have anybody to care for or, to love. And now that I have that, it's hard to, I don't want to let it go. And maybe I want to be too much in control, I guess. I feel like I can, control her happiness. If she's unhappy, I just feel like that it's something I'm doing wrong. And I'm just over analytical. And, maybe you guys have some advice as to, where a good boundary line to lay is, or, something of that sort.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I think every single man watching this is like, yep, analytical, yep, trying to control, yep. If I feel like she's slipping away, I grip even tighter until I get the white knuckle grip, or that's kind of what's going on. I want to share something from yesterday real quick. Then I'd love for Cynthia to jump in. And Andy, you and I are going to take a step. Andrew, you and I are going to take a step forward here today, right? And I have a quick question for you as well in a minute. So I shared this yesterday. Andrew, our theme of this week, of course, is solve the fear of divorce. And one of those things is the black lines are all the man in this scenario. Okay. Let's call him Billy. We've got a story about Billy I'll either share today or tomorrow. And so the forward lines, the straight up and down lines, are boundaries, kind of like this masculinity, this forward movement into the world, right? And what our boundaries are and what our values are. And the black lines in the middle are what we would call more like feminine traits, being in flow and kind of like boisterous and happy and energetic. Those are technically more feminine. Now, that's not bad or good. Those are just all within all of us, right? Women can be very directed and rigid, and women can also be the blue line, the flood, okay? So this black is the man, Billy, in the scenario, and this is his wife or his girlfriend, right? And so the blue is this big emotional flood that she has at times. So sometimes it's contained, contained within the boundaries of him feeling safe and totally everything's great, right? Sometimes it kind of goes a little bit beyond, and sometimes it's flooding way over what we feel are our boundaries or how we even know how to handle her emotions, okay? So I see you nodding. That does that hit home for you, Andrew? Is that like...
Yeah. Yeah, that's right on spot.
Okay, so let me ask you, and then I want to bounce over to Cynthia. So when the woman in your life has this flood way beyond what you feel you're able to kind of handle or know what to do, which, by the way, we're going to give you tools today, okay? We are going to answer this question. We are going to give you tools and step forward. That's what we do on this show every single day, right?
Oh.
So what is kind of your like go-to not great response? What do you feel like happens for you when her flood is over these boundaries?
I feel like I mirror the relationship. I mirror her feelings. If she's being a little bit rude or short or even sometimes arrogant, I feel I mirror it, and and I know it's the wrong thing to do, because most of the time I know in retrospect it's something that she's going through, and I just I take offense to it. If she's not showing affection, like I feel she should, and it's not, I know it's not my spot to say how she should feel towards me. That's her main decision. But if she's acting rude, I'll act rude back. And, maybe that's not so much the way to do to handle this.
Sure. So Cynthia, I'd love for you to jump in. I could certainly ask more questions, but sometimes I'm a guy, sometimes I talk too much, Andrew, right? So I'm going to bounce it over to our beautiful, my co-host here today. Cynthia, please ask some questions of Andrew.
Well, Andrew, thank you so much for sharing your story. And I totally hear you on the, how easy it is to mirror someone in the feelings that they're having, especially if we've attached thoughts to, they should be acting different than this. I do want to point out that I think your ability to mirror is a incredible strength, because in the long run, it just shows that that it's so easy for you to empathize where someone else is at and to empathize where she is at. And there are very specific tools where we actually guide men how to hold like the masculine frame, and in that they can empathize with the woman so she feels seen and heard, but they don't lose their frame. So I'm commend you for that natural ability you have. May I ask you, could you give me an example of when she's not showing affection, or when you find her being kind of grumpy, and what's the situation?
Well, for example, a lot of time, we'll get home at the end of the day, and she won't even come in and give me a kiss, or and then she'll sit down on the other couch, and I'm like, am I even here? And we've gone through this several times, and we've had improvements in the last few weeks. So we met at the restaurant that I worked at back in June, so almost a year ago, and we didn't start dating till August, and things moved quick, and we got an apartment together in December. So things moved really quick. She took leaps of faith. She knew about my past. She knew everything. And she really took some big risks, and she's really special for doing that. She's really an amazing woman, but she's very independent, and she likes her space. She doesn't always like to be touched. It's just something she's always told me. So I feel like everything's on her time, which I try to deal with that. I try to come to an agreement on, not so much an agreement, but I try to give her space and let her show the affection when she wants to show the affection. But sometimes I get to the point where I've had enough of it. I'm like, am I even here? Kind of thing. And we've gone through this in circles many times, and and at the end, it's just basically, she says, it's just, sometimes she just doesn't like to be touched. She's tired, this and that. And I just feel like we're always on her time. But let me say, things have been progressively better in the last, month or so. I feel like we've made some progress and boundaries, and I feel like she has started to go out of her way to make an attempt, like the effort like, okay, maybe she doesn't want to do the affection thing, but I can see her going out of her way to do it. But it's still a work in progress. And, you know, and it's sex too. You know, she doesn't like to have, you know, sex that much. She's a very, like I said, she's a very independent woman, and, you know, she's not big on social media. She has a horse. She takes care of her horse. She goes to work, and, you know, she doesn't go out and party and have a bunch of friends. She's a very solo type of person. And, like I said, me having that loss of affection and love for so many years, you know, it's something that I hold so dear to me, and it's very precious to me, having somebody to love and care for. So sometimes we're just not on the same page, and it's just finding how to, you know, mediate and compromise, I guess.
Sure. So I'm going to ask a question that's going to seem kind of off base and not aligned with what you said. I'm going to ask you, what is she gifted in the relationship? What are you in your, I don't freaking care, like what's happened in the past. You are an incredible person and being and man. What is it that is awesome about you that you give to her in the relationship that she's lucky to have?
Well, I'm big on loyalty. I'm extremely loyal. And I just want to do everything I can for her, you know. Maybe it goes past just cleaning the house and doing dishes every day, because that's something that I like to do. But I like caring for her and making sure that she has, you know, that she's just taken care of, whether it's the other day, one of her speakers in her car blew. I went out, bought a new one, and installed it. I love caring for her and making sure that I want her to have the best boyfriend she could have. You know, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, and I just want to be a good person, and I want to be a good boyfriend. I want to be a good man, and maybe sometimes I'm overly bearing, but it's something I've been trying to, you know, work on, you know, giving her space. But I think, you know, I provide her with, I don't know, provide her with love, you know, to the best of my ability, and that's all I can do.
So what makes her lucky to have you?
You know, well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I can answer that question.
That's a great question. I'm going to jump in, Andrew. Cynthia,
Yeah.
that is a phenomenal question. I just typed that down as well a couple of times, and I felt that's where I wanted to take Andrew too. So Cynthia, I'm glad that you did that, and I'd love for you to jump back in. Andrew, first of all, one of the first things that you said, right, was she's looked past all of my past troubles, and almost like she's on this pedestal. That's what it feels like. And that's why Cynthia is asking you, well, what do you bring to the relationship? What are your superpowers? Why is she lucky to have you? Because the best relationships, right, Andrew, are when both people feel lucky to be with the other.
Right.
When both feel lucky to be with the other. Okay, not when one just is like, oh, she's tolerating me. I'm so lucky to have her. Sex is on her terms. I'm just going to try all these nice guy things, like be nicer and nicer, even though I like them. By the way, you're like me, Andrew. I like domestic stuff. I like being a father. I like making sure things are kind of like orderly and such, right? I like giving love and having attention and affection with each other in the family, right? Which is traditionally more of the feminine type of energies, the arrows that are bouncing back and forth, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to propose something to you, Andrew. If I took away the vertical black lines here, okay, and the black lines were bouncing all over, and the blue swirly flood was going all over, and there was no boundaries, and there was no direction that the man was bringing, you know, what would this picture look like?
Yeah, it would look like a clusterfuck. Use my language.
Yeah, I know. We swear on the show all the time. Go for it, man. Yeah, absolutely. It'd be a clusterfuck. Now, I know you don't want a clusterfuck. Okay, right? So, first of all, I'm going to give you a book that we talk about in the show a lot that's going to help you a ton. It's called The Masculine in Relationship. Okay. I'm happy to, if Cynthia maybe could type that in chat, or if Andrew, if you want to write that down after we're done chatting here. The Masculine in Relationship is phenomenal. Okay. And so the first thing for you is that's one, you're going to get that Kindle. Okay. The second thing is, after you're done with the show, your homework is going to be to write down, you're just going to dump out of your mind all the things that you value about yourself, how you're a good man in the world, all those things that you said too. Okay. And it doesn't have to be about relationship in this instance. It's about you. Okay. I want to bring love into the world. You're obviously a kind man. You want to bring wisdom into your own future. You want to be a leader in your own family and in your, how the size of your community. And community can be just your family or the entire city or the entire world. And I already feel that within you. Is that true? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you want for yourself? We love her. So let's pretend the blue's not on here for a moment, right?
Okay.
What are the vertical arrows for you? What do you want for your own life?
Well, like financial stability, and I'm getting to that point. I don't have a college education. She has a college education, so I want to find a trade, or go back to school, go to college.
Pause for a second.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said, well, she has a college degree, so then therefore I want to blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I love her. We love her. This is about, we love women here. We love relationship here. This is not fucking MGTOW. This isn't like red pill to treat her like an animal and just do behaviorist kind of stuff. Okay. She's a human. We love her. She's complimentary to us. We value women, absolutely. But we're not talking about her right now, okay? We're talking about you. So do you want a trade?
Yeah, absolutely. I want, like I said, financial stability for the long term, a career. And that's what I'm working on right now.
Sweet. So what's the one next step? What's the one next step toward that career for you?
A decision, because there are a few options I'm looking at. So
okay, so tell me in 10 seconds, what are the options?
Going and becoming an apprentice for an electrician, or going and getting an RADC, registered alcohol drug technician, and then within the next 5 years becoming certified to be a drug and alcohol counselor.
Okay, those are the two options?
Yeah, those are the two I'm looking at.
Okay, do you work in either field right now?
Yeah, I'm part-time. I'm working for the electrician. No, I'm not working in drug and alcohol treatment field.
Okay,
right
yeah, and it takes like 2,000 hours under another electrician to move forward as a,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're already moving toward
5 years.
Go ahead, 5 years.
Within 5 years, I could be a journeyman.
Yeah, good. I have other clients that do that. So yeah, so you're on your path for that. And by the way, there's volunteer suicide hotline. There's volunteer drug hotline. There's volunteer like gambling addiction problem hotlines that you can volunteer and be doing both of those things right now. So you're already doing the electrician stuff. You already made that decision, right?
Right.
So now you just got a little more knowledge that you can volunteer in many ways as a call-in person, an 800 number call-in person. You don't need, like, your background will probably qualify you right off.
Wow.
I'm sure they'll do a drug test or something and, that kind of normal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you can be doing those two things right now.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know about that. Wow.
Yeah. So then you're going to get the masculine in relationship, right? Mm-hmm. And you're going to write down what do I want? You're going to write down, what are my strengths as a man in this world? How is she lucky to be with me? Okay. So in 30 seconds right now, just the vertical black lines, because you already have, like me, like most men on this show, guys, like most men watching this, we have pretty strong wants to connect, and we love relationship, and we want to have passion together with our woman. We're not here just to learn pickup shit or just how to like take advantage of women or anything like that. So most, the guys here are like you, right? So we need to work on this too. And I have as well in the past. I didn't magically come out of the womb knowing this, Andrew, right?
Right.
So just speak about the vertical black lines for 30 seconds for yourself. Okay. What's your next step? How are you valuable in the world? And what are you doing in your career? Ready to go.
I want to be just an upstanding citizen and lead by example, share my story, my experience, and help people where I can. I go to meetings, NA meetings, almost like AA, and I try to share and pass my message as well as I can. I want to be able to pay my taxes. I want to be, like I said, an upstanding.
And any woman would be lucky to have me in a relationship because
I'm a good listener.
Oh, home run. I want Cynthia to unmute herself and come in. Good. Andrew, pause right there. Cynthia, tell us what his energy is like now versus, 19 minutes ago.
Sure. Well, I mean, Andrew, you are a very attractive man. And yet 19 minutes ago, when you were in this place of, oh, I don't know how to make her happy. She does this, she does that. I was like, oh, he's an attractive man. And I'm also a pretty independent woman. And if I was tired, I'd kind of do the same thing. I'd kind of go do my own thing and sit on the couch and kind of be in my own space. But that moment that you first said when Jeff was asking you what you want for your career and you said, I want to do this, all of a sudden it changed and I felt like pulled to you. And it didn't matter if I was tired or had wanted my own space. There was something very compelling about you. So I just wanted to offer that when you own who you are and what you want and what you have to offer, that allows the feminine woman in your life to go, oh, I can put down the burdens of the day. I can put down the strong person I was trying to be, and I can move and snuggle up next to this incredible man who has vision and power in his own right.
Thank you. Those are very kind words. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cynthia. So Andy, can I fire into you for 20 seconds? Is that cool?
Absolutely.
Okay. I've coached a lot of guys. And when I said, you're going to do this homework and you're going to do that homework, you didn't move toward writing it down. Your eyes didn't move from the screen. So are you going to fucking do the homework that I asked you to do?
Absolutely. It's
right. Yeah. So the masculine relationship, and Cynthia put it in the chat, and you're going to write down as soon as we get off the call today, how you benefit the world and the strong man that you are, and any woman would be lucky to have you. Okay. Now you honor your girl. That's separate from this. There's you, there's her, and there's the relationship. There's three different entities here, right? So we can definitely talk again in a future time about the relationship. And you had a lot of questions about that are really good. This show is excellent for that. I'd love to have you in our private Facebook group. And hey, you gave me a chance to talk about our free audiobook, Andrew. So I'm going to put you on mute, right? So our website is greatmenmovemountains.com. So go to greatmenmovemountains.com/free audiobook. It's a 45-minute audiobook. Phenomenal. Cynthia and I did it together. And there's a free 13-page PDF accompaniment with tools that we use on the show and that we recommend and that we teach in our one-on-one coaching too. So grab that, India. Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you coming on. Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome, bro. You're welcome.
Thanks for having me share. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, dude. You're always welcome. Love you being here. Fantastic. Good. So I want to share, Patrick from New Zealand talked about this Haka strength dance and how it's a dance of honor. It can be even shown at funerals. So Patrick, are you able to unmute yourself and tell us where would you see this Haka dance? Because I want to bring some fucking power after that awesome talk with Andrew there into our call today. Yeah, Patrick, go ahead. Where would we normally see this display?
It's traditional at the start of an All Black game. All Blacks are our national rugby team. It can appear at particularly Maori funerals as the coffin is being brought out from the church. It can appear. I went to one where the father of one of my son's school friends had died, and when we came out of the church, you could hear a haka being done outside, and the hairs on the back of my neck rose up because it was so powerful. And when we walked out, it was the school boys, the boys, 14, 15, 16, honouring their friend whose father had died. And they were passionate into it. Wow. And I don't know which one you're going to show, but you'll see a bloke moving through the All Blacks normally form a triangle with the captain at the front, and you'll see somebody calling, moving through, and facial gestures, and then they launch into it. And there's a different type depending on what you're doing. One ka ponga used to end with the throat cutting, and the Maoris did this to the enemies, not the throat cutting. Well, maybe the throat cutting. The haka was performed before a battle in an attempt to show the power of the tribe that you were facing. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah,
you should see if you should see some good sleeve tattoos, by the way, too.
Yeah, well, thank you, Patrick. I appreciate that. This is from the 2011 Rugby World Cup, I believe, with the All Black team.
And now the All Blacks just waiting for the French to peel off the tracksuits, stand in front of them, and receive the challenge of the Haka. Well, the challenge has been received by the French. Stand by, the Rugby World Cup final.
Very cool, very cool. We'll have to find another one. I've seen other ones where they zoom in like closer on the guys, right, Patrick? You could come on. So what form of that did we see just there? That was so powerful. I just really wanted them to zoom in. Like, oh, please.
Yeah, well, there has been, that one sort of slightly disappointed me because there was too much crowd noise. Most of the time it's done, the crowd is silent. The French did an unusual thing. They moved forward to challenge it, which normally, and you might notice there's a distance between them. That was introduced because other teams moved straight forward into the haka and nose to nose, and New Zealand didn't back off. I mean, literally, have a look for that one. There's two people nose to nose, one on opposing teams, and nobody's backing down. And and they had to introduce that space.
Yeah, Patrick, tell you what, let's you and I connect off the show, and let's find one that's, going to be better than that one that you really like. I mean, you're from New Zealand, and so I'd love your advice on that one. And I just so wanted to feel more. So we'll definitely show tomorrow or the next day on this show So that's a nice cliffhanger. That was definitely a dick tease for what we can see coming up. So I appreciate that. Patrick's like, yeah, I don't know what to say after dick tease. Yeah, I'm going to pause you, Patrick. You don't need to say anything after dick tease. That's fine. So Cynthia, dick tease. Come on in, unmute yourself. And on that note, do women, no, yeah, go ahead. What did you feel as far as the power in that clip? Even though we're going to find a better one tomorrow. Okay, what about the power of the masculinity and the force and the direction of those men?
Well, thank you for asking, and I appreciated that Jason asked about that as well. I found it guttural and exciting, and I appreciated the power and the strategic focus. And I think what I even enjoyed the most was, even before it began, just watching the men kind of like, you could watch their thought process, like, all right, let's go, let's rev, like, be ready. And I found that very, very compelling. It spoke to, the masculine part of me who, used to play sports, who just loved the like raw feeling. And so if I was to then back up and say that is incredible to watch and awe-inspiring. However, if I was on the other side of that, like face to face with that, needing to be in the same warrior stance, I think it would be just the sheer like strength, testosterone would be, I would know that I did not have the same power in return. So if I was on the other team, I might feel a little intimidated.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the point, right? That's kind of the point. Yeah. And I would be intimidated if a female team did that in front of me. I think I would say that would be rather intimidating for me as well. Yeah, thank you so much. So I do want to bounce to a tool for today. Jason actually mentioned that he wanted to share a tool that we had talked about on the show, and a tool that we teach in our one-on-one coaching.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff, and thanks, Cynthia, for that. I was wondering if that was too aggressive or masculine positive, because it's about as aggressive as a display as you can get. So thanks for your feedback on that. So I wanted to share. I'm really trying hard to practice what you preach and what I'm studying. And so the Don't Be a Tool, I thought I had an opportunity to use it. And so I tried it. I wanted to share kind of verbatim feedback.
Yeah, please go for it.
And so last night, I got, I don't know if it was a shit test or she just was in a bad place, but I was dropping the kids off at her apartment, and texter said, be there in 5. And then I went into the store. I didn't realize I got like 7 texts saying, hey, I just ordered dinner for me and your niece. Why don't you wait 20 minutes? Hello. What the hell? What's going on? And I walk out to all these angry texts. And I didn't see it until we were like pulling into her complex, because I try not to read my phone while I'm driving. And so I'm like, oh, sorry, we're here. And so I get another angry text, and I walk in, and she's just pissed. And I was like, what's wrong? She's like, nothing. Things are fine. And I'm like, okay. So
yeah. She
didn't want to fight in front of the boys. And so I dropped them off, and everything was fine. And, then she was so wound up, she didn't hear me tell her that I already gave the older boy the medicine for the night. And so I leave, and she texts me, and she's like, I just gave B his meds. You didn't give them to her today, right? Like, now she's remembering I told her, but she was so fired up in the moment she forgot. So now she's super angry at me for whatever she was angry at me for when I walked in. And now the meds thing, because one of the meds can cause problems, but everything was fine. So that's the setup. And then, I asked her a couple times, which I probably shouldn't have, why are you so angry? Why are you so upset? What was going on? And I stopped myself and was like, okay, just let it park. Maybe it's not about me. I don't know. And so this morning I was like, you know what? I'm going to try Jeff and Cynthia's tool. So verbatim, I'm reading my text. I've been thinking about last night, and you seemed very angry with me. I bet you think that a part of me is annoyed and angry, and you're right. A part of me is. But part of me is confused and sad. This is important to me because I'd like for us to have a positive relationship, and I'm confused as to why all of that suddenly happened. What more do you want me to know about that? And I'll be honest, just so the other guys have looked at the tools, it felt so weird and so unnatural to like use those words, because those aren't words that or a structure of how I would approach that kind of situation. I mean, just I almost didn't send it because it felt she's gonna be like, who the F are you? What the hell is this? Right? And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna apply it. Let's see what happens. So it was an hour and a half later. I figured I had boloed it and that she was too pissed to talk about it. And her reply was, I was just really tired and had just woken up. I felt bad that I ordered food without asking if the boys wanted anything. Then I got annoyed that you just brought them over after I asked you to wait, and to top it off, the med thing really had me pissed. And I was like, holy crap. Like,
yeah, buddy. Woo!
Yeah. So I was like, wow. Okay, so then I was like, all right, so I got to reply with something. And I said, that sounds hard, and I'm sorry I stressed you out. And her response floored me. Really? Question mark. That sounds hard? Question mark. And so I just tried to clarify the hard part, because that sounds hard is not how I've ever replied, ever. So I just said, it does. I know how tired you are, and the stress of dealing with the meds as you were looking to go to bed does sound hard, and I hate that I created that stress for you. And that was it. So
I love it.
I wanted to share the tool and the response, and it was pretty cool to she shared how she felt.
Oh my gosh. And, just in 20 seconds, Jason, how much has this, your separated wife, right? And she left and basically abandoned the home and the 3 kids. And now she's starting to work with the kids more. Is that true? So how much connection or how much has she shared with you at all emotionally over the past, year or 2 years?
So it's been 11 weeks. So in the past year or two, not since the separation.
Or both, yeah.
Not a lot. Not a lot over the last year or two. Or, we've probably talked for 60 to 90 minutes over the last 11 weeks. And so all that was via text, because it is not about face-to-face conversation right now. She's not there. And there's, I asked her if she wanted to hang out Sunday on the deck for like an hour at 3:00. So it wasn't dinner time. It wasn't nighttime. It was just time. And she said, I'm tired, but thanks for the invite. Maybe some other time soon though. Right. So again, an opening, not a no thanks, and a cold shutdown. So the recent temperature has been better than the first 10 weeks, but still almost purely text.
Sure. That makes sense. Well, Cynthia, I'd love for you to jump in and give some feedback. And honestly, Jason, I love the story. Absolutely phenomenal. And since we have you on the phone, we have about 4 minutes left today, and I want to try to keep it tight to an hour. If you want to stay on after, we've been doing that after the show as well. So if you want to stay on, or any gentleman that's on here, I'm going to wrap up our show in about 4 minutes for the day. And then if you want to stay on, Cynthia and I will, if she's available as well, to stay on for 15 more minutes after the show to ask questions. If you didn't want to, if you didn't feel like you could jump in during today's show. Okay. So Jason, do you have a particular question from there, or did you just want to share with us? Either way is great.
So I guess I wanted to say thank you for the tool, because it gave me a different way to respond. I was proud of myself that I didn't engage in a fight going like, WTF, like, why are you screaming at me? Like,
yeah,
I told you I was bringing the kids over and you're hostile as hell. And I didn't get it. But I knew that fighting then and there was the wrong thing to do. And but it bugged me enough that I wanted to follow up. So your tool gave me a way to follow up in a way that wasn't natural to me. And it got, I think, a really positive response, because it was feeling words is how she described all her places at the time. And she does not, back to your earlier question, I'm not sure I fully answered it, how much emotion and snippets of conversation sound like that in the last year or two. Very, 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 very few. And so it really allowed her to share how she felt in the moment and at the time, and package that she was tired. And so I guess if I had a question, it was that the wrong tooled response to go, that sounds hard, and I'm sorry I stressed you out? Because it elicited I don't know, from text message, this is why not talking sucks. I don't know whether she was like, really? Or whether she was like, really? Like, but the fact that she followed up with, that sounds hard, ? Was like, what the hell's that supposed to mean? Of course it was hard, or I don't know. So that would be my question for you and Cynthia is, how do you read that response?
Yeah, that's a great question. Cynthia, in 60 seconds, what would you say? And then we can have a cliffhanger here today and pick this up either after the show or tomorrow as well. So how would you respond to Jason's question of how could he have gone forward from there in the text exchange?
Well, I could be wrong, but it did feel to me like she was challenging a little bit, like maybe saying, well, of course it was hard, or really. So regardless of that was her energy or it was a softer, more receptive energy, Jason, I loved your final response of just like, hey, I hate that this happened and that you felt this way, because that's not what I want for you or for the space between us. There's something really powerful with women, and to tell a woman that, like, this was not my intent. I hate that this caused you pain. That is such a healing thing to hear. We so value and we so measure a relationship on the other person's intent. And to realize that wasn't their intent is enormous. I think you handled it beautifully, and I'm just in awe and is so appreciation to hear your story. I think that's amazing, and that she was able to share different layers of what she was feeling with you is huge.
Well, thank you for the tool and the structure to do something I never would have done myself. So the appreciation is right back at you guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and mute you right now. It's so phenomenal. So great. Definitely post your next question if you like on the forum, Jason, right? There's certainly, she may feel a vulnerability hangover, as Brene Brown would say, with how much she shared, or I don't want you to think there's a mistake that men make, that sometimes they think that, oh, this is like, now everything is better now, which I don't expect that you think that, Jason, but I'm saying some men have the mistake of, oh, it's great. Now we're in this feeling place, and now I can ask a bunch of questions, smother her, try to take too many steps forward. And again, I don't think that's you, Jason, but if you want to post the next question, stay after the show or post on the forum. And I'm going to wrap up our show today. I have a clip from Spaceballs 1987. Your Schwartz is as big as mine clip that I'm going to show here. It's about a 2.5-2-minute clip that I'll show here after I wrap up our show today. So Cynthia, let's honor our men, and then I'll close this out, and we'll stay after for a while, guys, if you want to hang out for another 15 minutes. So Cynthia, please.
Yeah. Thank you so incredibly much. Thank you for all that you share and all that you do and all that you lead. I love your energy and your power and your strength. And every day I'm in gratitude to be here in this incredible group. So thank you.
Cynthia, thank you so much. One of my favorite marketers and authors is Seth Godin. And if you search Seth online, you'll find a tremendous amount of his stuff. And one of his lines that I like, and that one of his beliefs that I fully agree in, is people like us do things like this. Men like us do work like this. Everyone here now watching this, if you're at this point and you're watching this show, you are like us. You want connection and relationship. You want to know how to be that grounded, calm, passionate, modern, masculine man. and not lose yourself, right? You know, you want to know how to have boundaries and to dance in her flow. And you want to know what to do if she's flooding. And that's why we're here. So this has been the C Note Show, brought to you by Great Men Move Mountains and greatmenmovemountains.com. If you want to be in our private Facebook group, it's free. You just need to be invited in because it is private. So go to our website, greatmenmovemountains.com/C Note. And that's information on this show. And underneath is how you can submit your Facebook email login to request being in our private group. Okay, because Cynthia and I have to invite you in personally, as it's a private group. If you want our free audiobook, we mentioned that earlier in the show, you go to our website /free audiobook. Or if you want to contact us /contact to talk about my one-on-one coaching, Cynthia's one-on-one coaching, and how we do a wraparound together. Right. And so the first consult call with me is always free. I give my heart for an hour or more, and I give you a perspective and a plan exactly where you are now. Right. It's for me to give my heart. I believe in business and heart, and that's my heart. This show is our heart. And I thank Cynthia again so much. Thank you very much, Cynthia.
Thank you.
So I'm going to show this 2-minute clip from Spaceballs, 1987. One way I thought of this is we'll have to talk next week about the displays of masculinity, as Jason said, and all of us kind of feel is there are a lot of people that would have seen that Haka dance as a display of overt toxic masculinity, right? And then there's those like myself and like Patrick, and I'm sure many men here that believe that that's a display of power and unity as men, and that does not mean that it's something toxic or overly hurtful in any way, right? Now, and one thing you can definitely see is they're kind of like measuring dicks, or we don't want to measure dicks with our woman. That's another way to say this, is we do not want to measure cocks with our woman. That's not where we want to go. So on that note, here's the scene from Spaceballs.
What's that make us?
Absolutely nothing, which is what you are about to become. Prepare to die. You have the ring, and I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. Now let's see how well you handle it.
He did it. What?
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
I hate it when I get my Schwartz twisted. Okay, maybe if I put my leg up on yours, we could split apart like... Good, yeah. Right. On 3. 1, 2, 3, go! So, Lone Star, yogurt has taught you well. If there's one thing I despise, it is a fair fight. But if I must, then I must. May the best man win. Put her there. The ring! I can't believe you fell for the oldest trick in the book! What a goof! What's with you, man? Come on! You know what? Here, let me give it back to you. Oh, look at that! You fell for that too!
Oh, man. The ending there reminds me of some of the naivete that I had in relationship back before I learned all of these things, right? Kind of the things are supposed to be fair. You're supposed to fight fair. The world, is supposed to work itself out. Those are some of our nice guy tendencies, is we think that if we do the right things and be nice and fair, that things are supposed to work out. And guess what? That's not how the world works all the time. And that causes sometimes a pendulum swing in our belief. Like, that's why there is MGTOW, guys. That's why some men just hate women, and it's like, well, then F this because once, blah, blah, blah. And if you've done any searching out there, you see that kind of thing. And so I just want to say, I know we're after the show right now, but that reminds me of the naivete that I had in the past. And part of why we're here, guys, is to learn how to not be naive, how to learn how to actually be grounded and wise, right? And not hate women or not hate, what's his name? Dark Helmet, I think his name is. Not hate him for who he is, to believe him in who he is and understand him for who he is and what he's going to do. So yeah, I'd love for you guys to unmute yourself if you like. We'll be on for about another 10 minutes now. And we'd love for you to ask a question, or if you want to pose something that you'd like to see on a future episode, we'd love for you to unmute yourself and speak up or post in chat, please. Patrick, I see you unmuted yourself, or maybe that was an accident. Or Jason's unmuted. Go for it.
Hey, so role reversal here, Jeff.
Yeah.
Once you asked me about being able to go over into that masculine area, that being able to fight.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Long time ago, right? And I was watching that Haka today, realizing how much that energy scares me right now. Just to compete, just to go for it.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering where you tap into that. Where do you tap into that?
In what way exactly? How to move forward, or?
Yeah, you have a tremendous gift to just do it.
Yeah, because I don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks. Honestly, I never have really. Like, I was telling Cynthia this the other day when I was 7 years old and I was in the daycare center. I climbed up on top of the plastic playhouse that they had because I'm just messing around, and all of a sudden, all the women that were watching me in the daycare center got up. You're not supposed to be up on the top of the playhouse. Get down from the top of the playhouse. And what I thought was, oh, this is causing quite a dramatic scene. This is more interesting than what I was doing before. Let's continue with the Shakespearean play named Jeff on top of the fucking plastic playhouse, and let's see where this goes. So I just don't give a shit what other people think. Now, that's hurt me that I've had many, many bosses in the past get really angry with me. I've been fired from jobs. I've been disciplined for my basically lack of respect. One was I was in the banking industry in my 20s, and I treated my boss like an equal. And because I treated my boss like an equal, this is the short version, she got pissed and I got reprimanded for this. Okay. And so I tell the longer version another time. But I guess I could say, I'll circle it to something that I love that actually Oprah said. When Oprah was doing her show, there was Phil Donahue and there was other talk show hosts. And Oprah said that she never looked over her shoulder to see what everyone else was doing. They just made the next show better, the next day better. And so they just challenged their own self. So they only compare, she and I only compare. Look, I just put myself in the same basket as Oprah. Look at that shit. She and I only look at ourselves from yesterday to be better than we were yesterday. So that's how I look at it, Jason.
Very cool. Thank you. Oh, and the Happy Gilmore action on today.
Yeah, that was fantastic. It's like we can be ourselves. We can hit the ball. That's the thing, right, Jason? We can hit the ball any way we want. That's kind of like we showed a clip, I believe it was yesterday, from Simon Sinek when he reached in and grabbed the bagels instead of waiting in the giant line. Those are all debatable. Like, that's it. And I think part of the fear, and let me ask you, Jason, part of the fear may be that it pushes up against judgment, questions of morality, questions of what? Like, you're being controlled. Like, so you can be accused of controlling, toxic masculine, that you're no good. Like, what are you afraid of with confrontation or challenge or moving forward in the world like that?
I, as opposed to you, always gave a shit what everybody else thought. So that's my own unique challenge. Which is funny when I posted a picture of Garfield, I think, in somebody's post. It was amazing in younger life, and even 4 years ago, when I didn't know I couldn't do something, I always did it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Gleefully ignorant it would be a place I'd like to go again.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to say. Like, we all as men have to be careful that we don't research too much. Okay, there's a bell curve. I actually learned this in my MBA courses I was taking. There's a bell curve for how much information we get and we bring in. So if we don't know anything, we generally freeze or we stay away because we're afraid. Okay, and after we start to have some amount of information, we have more courage. But if we learn too much information, we start to analysis paralysis or become afraid again, or be overwhelmed by too much choice. So this is actually a normal human psychological thing that we're talking about here, Jason. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. So Cynthia, I'd love for you to chime in. So Jason just kind of didn't recognize his superpower of, let's say, connection, right? Like the always be worried what other people think can be thought of in what positive way, Cynthia? What would you say?
Sure. Well, Jeff, I am not like you. I do not have the ability to not care what people think. And I would have been in the schoolroom where you were jumping on top of the plastic house. I would have been over in the corner, like mortified that you were getting in trouble and like trying to be the good girl. So, one thing.
And you would have been hot for me because I was the dude that didn't give a shit, right? Like, yeah, that's how it
works. Yes.
Yeah. So continue. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Continue.
One thing. So Jason, we talked about like your incredible power to not only empathize and feel energy, but also provide a container around it. And I would imagine that you, like me, because we feel deeply and because we do want really good things for people, we can sometimes inspire reactions in them that are dramatic or big. And I like to think of that as being in purpose, that if every day I'm writing down what is my purpose here in this world as just a human being, to move myself and move others, and it can shift every day, that no matter how other people respond to me, I know it's always for the good. It's for the thing they're wanting most, even if it's a negative reaction. So I don't know, again, if that seems a little too woo-woo, but that's how I work through my self-confidence each day, and kind of embracing a superpower that offers people to move through stuck places, just as I practice moving through stuck places in myself. Does that make sense at all, or does that ring true at all?
Yeah, it does. It does. Again, I'm just taken aback about how coming back to relationship work here has been what I needed, even though I didn't know that. It's putting things back together. I think something what I found when I had been completely centered and the best version of me is that I didn't have those judgments is kind of what I'm hearing from you. Didn't have those judgments about their response. That whatever came was what needed to happen. And what a gift it was that I was in that position to make that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Another piece put back together.
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting myself back together here slowly, but thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. I love that. Awesome. On that note, guys, we'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Mountain. We're here every day. We've got a special Sunday show coming up this Sunday. Cynthia and I are creating another free giveaway. It's called How to Solve the Fear of Divorce in 10 Days. right? So afraid of divorce, ? How to solve the fear of divorce in 10 days. We're going to have specific tools, specific meditations. You'll be able to do it every day in the time that it takes you to brush your teeth in the morning and in the evening. That's our goal. Okay. So if you're on Sunday, you'll see posts about that. Steve Horseman and Good Guys to Great Men, he's promoting it in his entire list of men. He has upwards of 20,000 on YouTube and his own list and all that kind of stuff. So look out for that Sunday. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Bye.
I'ma tell you about a woman who's cold as tundra with some frozen eyes. I can tell by the way she moves that she cares and it's lovely.